Harvesting. Okay. Usually farmers will prefer to pull out the whole vegetables and then cut off the roots. Okay. And this is this is 小白菜. This is a 小白菜 that we are ready to eat, right? And then we restart. Because usually for farmers or people with a big community plot, you want to clear all and restart. You want to reuse the space as fast as possible. But for home farmers, typically they will say, I want to harvest as and when I like. So they usually cut the leaf from the bottom, right? As and when they want 2 leaves for their Maggi mee, you're supposed to cut the leaf. They will want to cut the leaf at the bottom because to them it's like, why keep in the fridge? I just cut it as and when I like it. Okay. There are advantages, there are disadvantages. Okay. Advantages of this is that you free up the space faster so that you can restart. And usually when you look through the plot, right, you have very healthy looking veg evenly, right? But if you start cutting it this way, one is that sometimes your scissors is not clean properly. You may hurt the plants, and then after a while you realize that the whole plant actually start to rot and actually die before you can harvest the whole plant. Okay, but if you can control that well, that is fine. My personal preference, I rather, let's say I have a pot and that pot can support, let's say 6 plants. I rather I say, okay, maybe today I harvest 2 plants. I keep the other 4. That means I start harvesting when the plant is about right, maybe not the full size yet. Then I eat the first 2 plants. And then because I eat the first 2 plants, the other 6 plants suddenly got maybe a bit more space. They can grow a bit bigger. And then the next 2, I maybe harvest next week. Typically, you can harvest over 1-2 weeks, right? So that means every 3 days you harvest maybe 2 stalks or things like that. That will be another way that you can do it, okay? So you pull out the whole thing. For vegetables, you cannot let it grow and grow. You, at the end of the cycle, you still have to clear it and start from seeds. Okay, so that is the painful part of planting edibles. Planting edibles, you will not have a beautiful garden throughout one whole year. No way, you know. Initially, it looks very pretty. Maybe it looks very pretty for 4-5 weeks. And when you harvest it, your garden looks very ugly. It's empty, you know, and bare and things like that, right? But that's normal if you plant edibles. So if that is your concern, you want your garden to be evergreen, always looks pretty, then don't start on edibles. Seriously. Now, I just want to be very factual, okay? Okay, herbs, huh? Herbs is slightly different. A lot of people tell me, do I just pluck off the leaf or do I cut the stem? Cut the stem very sayang leh. Not true. The more you cut, let's say I cut here, right? 2 weeks later, they'll branch into 2 branches. That's how you make your herbs more bushy. Because imagine, originally you have 4 stems. You cut it, it becomes 8. Cut it further, becomes 16. So it becomes bushier, right? So herbs, you want it to be evergreen. They also won't be evergreen. Typically, it's only about 9 months, right? 6 to 9 months, depending on your planting environment, right? The only way is to prune it every 2 weeks. Leave at least 2-3 nodes at the base. So cut it off, and then you can use the whole stem, okay? So this is herbs. If you have stem cutting vegetables, in Singapore, it's very common that in your home, you cannot plant those so-called Asian leafy vegetables, those that commonly find in supermarket because you don't have enough sun. But stem cutting vegetables like Brazilian spinach, Thai watercress, Okinawa spinach, Ceylon spinach, or Malabar spinach, you know, those type, right? When you trim, please trim all the way. You see, I trim all the way, right? I botak it, trim until it's empty. So if you want to have like continuous supply, I always tell my customers, have 3 pots. First week, botak the first pot. Second week, do it for the second pot. Third week, do it for the third pot. By the 4th week, the first pot already regrown to full size. So minimally 2 pots. You cannot have 1 pot and expect to have evergreen supply. It doesn't work that way. So for stem cutting, it's always trim all the way. Then you are able to promote even new growth. Otherwise, you'll see very ugly looking, one stick here and there. Okay, so that is for herbs as well as stem cutting vegetable. For fruiting vegetables, for chili, for things like pepper families, chili, habanero, citrus family, you typically harvest the fruits. So this is, the first one is actually chili. This one is habanero. Then you have citruses. This is kaffir lime, right? So you just cut off the fruits. At the end of the whole season, usually you'll flower a lot. Then you'll form fruits, right? Then once you harvest all the fruits, you can give them some pruning. You can prune it a bit, okay? So that the next grow is more bushy and better looking, okay? You can do it, but when you harvest, you only harvest and cut at where the fruits is, okay? Somebody also asked about lady's fingers. I think I sent back a picture to you. Cut here, right? You cut the lady fingers. Bitter gourd, you trim off the fruits. Brinjal, you cut here. Okay, so it's all cutting at where the fruits is attached to the plant. Okay, cauliflowers. Cauliflowers, cabbage. People ask, after I harvest, do they regrow? Unfortunately, no. Okay, you plant it for 12 weeks, you hope that they give you another cauliflower, right? But it doesn't work that way, okay? You have to chop off the whole heads, right? And then this plant you have to pull out and renew. So what I do is, usually they're very nice leaf. You know, you feel such a waste to throw it away. So the upper leaf are usually the younger one. So I take the upper leaf, I go and boil vegetable stock. It's actually quite nice, okay? Vegetable stock. So I can use that stock to cook my soup and things like that. The lower leaf usually a bit hard. I will compost it. So the whole plant, at least I can reuse it.